always been the one, yeah, that'll never change. Bright like the sun, but real like the rain. Yeah, your head stays.
You know, I believe a lot of these athletes are judged unfairly. I believe Derek Carr is judged poorly by his critics. Like, I went on Instagram and I was seeing people basically, they were just trolling a Raiders page, and they're basically saying that, oh, Patrick Mahomes is way better than Derek Carr because he got it all done in 1 year. And Derek Carr has been for the Raiders for 6 years and he's only had one good season. And really the only reason he had a good season is because he had Amari Cooper and he had a good offensive line. You see, when you judge athletes, you have to look at the big picture. Do not just look at highlights. There is a reason on why Patrick Mahomes has been successful so quick, and there's also a reason why Derek Carr has been up and down in his career, and I'm about to get into the reasons why. In 2017, the Kansas City Chiefs had drafted Patrick Mahomes, and it was obvious that the Chiefs had a plan with Mahomes. And Andy Reid liked Mahomes' talent and football IQ, and the Chiefs front office and organization did a good job with developing Mahomes. Andy Reid did not force Patrick Mahomes to be the starter. He allowed him to be redshirted behind the veteran presence of Alex Smith. And this was great for the development of Patrick Mahomes because he had a year to learn the offense, to get comfortable, to build his confidence up. He was surrounded by a lot of great offensive minds in Andy Reid and Matt Nagy in his first year. So by the time Mahomes, was a full-time starter in his second year, he was firing on all cylinders and he had the weapons in place for him. So all Patrick Mahomes had to do was make the Chiefs even better. Mahomes is very talented, so all he did was amplify what the Chiefs already had. And that's what you were supposed to do when you have a franchise guy. You're supposed to develop him and maximize his talent. And Andy Reid did a great job with developing an offensive scheme that fits Patrick Mahomes' strength. A NFL organization is like a parent, and the athlete is like a child. However a child is raised can determine the outcome of his future. If his childhood is up and down, then his future is going to be up and down. The same rule applies in pro sports. If your organization is up and down, then the athlete is going to be up and down. When the Raiders drafted Derek Carr, it did not really seem like they had a concrete plan. Plus, in Derek Carr's rookie year, he had 2 head coaches, which is a no-no, in my opinion. I mean, if your quarterback is just getting into the league and he's already having different head coaches, that is not good for his development. Plus, the Raiders weren't really that organized in 2014 when it came to their offense. Dennis Allen said that Matt Schaub was supposed to be the starter, but then Derek Carr has one good preseason game. Then he throws Derek Carr in the starting lineup, which allowed Derek Carr to be the first Raiders rookie quarterback to start a season opener. Now, we all know why Dennis Allen made Derek Carr the starting quarterback was because he was trying to find the guy with the hot hand to help save his job. And the Raiders started off 0-4, and he inevitably gets fired. But you can't really blame Dennis Allen because Dennis Allen is a defensive-minded coach, and when he got hired, he was there to fix the defense. And he never had the money to get the defensive players that he wanted because the Raiders were going through salary cap issues that started in 2011. And Mark Davis stated that the Raiders were going through a deconstructional phase. So basically, in Derek Carr's rookie year, he had to go through a deconstructional phase, a defensive-minded coach that was not an expert on offense, and then he had to play with 2 different head coaches, all in his rookie year now. And that year, he had no Amari Cooper, so they didn't have no real big threat on offense. And mind you, Derek Carr was a second-round draft pick, and he was the best quarterback in that draft. All the other first-round quarterbacks were all busts or had a short window of success. So in 2015, in Derek Carr's second year, Reggie McKenzie and owner Mark Davis hired Jack Del Rio and then drafted some better players. But then, like a stock market, this had a rise and fall, and eventually Jack Del Rio was fired. So last year in 2018, Mark Davis hired John Gruden. And according to Mark Davis, the Raiders are going through another deconstructional phase after hiring John Gruden. So in Derek Carr's 6 years as a starting quarterback, he has already had 4 different head coaches, and he has been through the deconstructional phase twice. Now, please tell me, how can you expect consistency out of your quarterback when there's too many frequent changes within the organization? But then you got fans saying that, oh, there's no excuses. You know, Derek Carr complains too much. He's a crybaby. He's an NFL quarterback. He's supposed to adapt. You know, a lot of people do not know how hard it is to learn an NFL playbook. Imagine learning a new playbook almost every other year. It's almost like being put in a remedial class. And over time, that gets stressful. Can you imagine if you had a job and, you know, your boss gives you like the plan, and then that boss gets fired, and then you get a new boss, and then he tells you another plan? I mean, eventually you're going to want to quit because you're like, dang, there's no consistency. There's no foundation or structure. But all people kept saying in the offseason was like, oh, get rid of Derek Carr, draft another quarterback. I guarantee you, had the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted Derek Carr instead of Blake Bortles, the Jaguars would have been to the Super Bowl, especially with that AFC Championship team that they had. Or could you imagine if the Minnesota Vikings drafted Derek Carr? I mean, Teddy Bridgewater only took the Vikings to the playoffs because the Vikings had the defense and Teddy Bridgewater was a game manager. But can you imagine if the Vikings had offensive firepower with that defense? There is a reason why the Raiders kept Derek Carr. There is a reason that Mark Davis signed John Gruden to a 10-year contract. It's because now Mark Davis is finally understanding the art of patience. He's trying to develop a team. He's trying to develop Derek Carr. That's why they got Antonio Brown. They got weapons. They got Aitman. They have Tyrell Williams. I mean, this team is loaded on offense. So I believe that Derek Carr is going to play very well this season, and I'm rooting for him all season. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go to work.
And I recall the past real vaguely. I remember everything they'd say. Maybe thought that I was crazy, thinking that one day they'd see my name. Love being a loner, always moving closer. Knew exactly what I wanted to have. Fear of growing older, chip all on my shoulder. Told myself I'm never looking back. And now I'm cold and dissonant. I'm losing my innocence, and you don't know my intent. And now you better back down, 'cause I'm coming for you. Better back down, 'cause I'm coming for you. Better back down, 'cause I'm coming for you. Better back down, 'cause I'm coming for you.
Not changing anything that I do. I know how to work. I know how to study. I know how to play this game.